Be honest with yourself, guys. Whenever you tell yourself, I'll do something when you feel like it, how often do you actually do it? Genuinely. And that's what today's video is about. So, motivation is stupidly unreliable. Because, in a nutshell, you're basically relying on an emotion of want, an emotion where you should be feeling a certain way in order to do it. However, this emotion is not guaranteed. And when you realize this, you'll feel like, oh wow, it's dumb. Because it is. So I'll give you an example. When I was, when I drew for my channel before, I had art block, right? Some days I had art block, and that's fine. You can acknowledge that. Burnout is normal, taking breaks is normal. However, I noticed I was lazy. I still forced myself to draw, and guess what? Because I forced myself to draw, I realized some of my best drawings were actually from then. And I had a very good sustainable system where I could just basically keep going and going and going and going. And I lasted so many days, and I thought, just because I got myself used to doing it, Same with when I was doing some writing as well. I had writer's block and yada yada yada. So let's talk about this, guys, because it's something we need to hear. Don't rely on motivation. Honestly, you're not always going to feel like you want to do something. You're not always going to feel happy. You're not always going to be like, oh yeah, I'm so pumped. I'm going to be real with you. If you have a dream, right? Like a newly awakened dream, the first day or two or week, you might even feel like, oh my goodness, I'm so committed. And then you realize you probably don't even work maybe half as hard as you used to. That's because of burnout, and also because you're not creating anything sustainable. So in this video, if you guys are still here with me, I will tell you the best advice I have scoured from the internet that has helped me maintain really, really good discipline, and why I stopped motivating myself, or rather feeling like I needed to be motivated. So another thing I learned is that you're essentially motivated to want motivation, which is a double problem. Because on one hand, you're waiting for something, but at the same time, you are willing to wait for something that is going to make you willing to do something. So you're causing yourself a headache. So don't do that. And you have to realize that when you actively decide, you know what, I'm going to do this, that's when everything will hit. Like when I make videos for this channel, for example, some days I don't feel like it. You know what? This morning I couldn't even sleep properly. I probably had maybe 3 or 4 hours of sleep in total. I felt dreadful, but I still made a video because my urge to create was higher than to laze about, I guess. So yeah, don't burn yourself out. Okay, now on to the types of advice I have heard. Number 1, create systems. So this is something which I have been like, how have I lived my whole life without this, I think I discovered this maybe last year, late last year, early this year. Honestly, my perception of time is bad. It's got to be last year. Yeah, it's got to be. So basically, a system is something that you conform to regardless of how you feel. So let's say you have a gym routine, because that's what the video mentioned. You have a gym routine, you think about what time you're going to go, what you're going to wear, which gym, how are you going to get there, and so on, And then you start to wonder to yourself that if it's a system, it's something that is not based on your feelings. It's facts over feelings, which I also love as well, by the way. So you say you want to go to the gym, you go one day, you feel refreshed, you feel great. Then the next day you feel tired, but you're on a system. You're not using something that's just like wishful thinking or motivation based. So a system is ensuring that you follow the plan regardless of how you feel. And this is something which a lot of us need, because you can't rely on something like motivation. It's a beautiful thing when you feel it and you can actually strive on it, but how often are you going to do it? Like, think about it. If you were told your motivation comes once every blue moon or whatever, are you just going to laze about the rest of your life until that blue moon appears? Of course not. You have to grind. If you don't grind, you're not going to be able to do anything. So that's another thing that people have mentioned. And with systems, you tell yourself, I'm going to go to the gym because I've committed to that. You don't tell yourself, oh, I don't feel, okay, you can say, I don't feel like it, but you actively decide to move regardless. And then you get used to it. And when you get used to it, that's when you're thinking, okay, I'm freaking used to this. I know what to do. That's what it is. And it's not something where your feelings dictate so much. And I want to say something to you guys. As an emotional person, I still wish to say this. Do not let your feelings ever dictate major decisions in your life. Like your dream and your pathways, exams and stuff. You need to actively create something which works for you. And with systems, you don't have to make it that challenging. You can literally just tell yourself, okay, I'm going to do this at this time, and then you can say, I'm going to watch something afterwards, or I'm going to play something afterwards. That's fine, but you have to stick with it regardless of how you feel. Now, can you alternate systems? Of course you can. You just want to make sure you get the job done, ultimately. And when I heard about this, I was thinking, that's exactly what I need. Because I rely on feelings so much, especially when I first started this channel, or when I had early traction, I kept thinking, I need to be motivated. I still need to do this. But this is where the next piece of advice comes in. And that is, do it messy, okay? So I once saw in a video, it was a compiled video. So there was a small segment. And this man was basically saying that people cheer for you at the start and at the end of the race. So when you start, everyone's like, oh yeah, go, go, go. And then when you're finishing, that's it, you've made it. But in the middle, that's the messiest part. That's where no one but you is there. And that got me as well. Because that's the messiest part. But you know what is so important? Is that we don't know where life will take us unless we take initiative. So when people say, do it scared, do it broke, take that advice seriously. You don't know which way you're going to go, but the only way you'll know is by testing the waters. You have to take that risk. So even if you have zero idea what you're doing, if you have the slightest familiarity, like let's say you want to go into the world of content, if you make a video, you're doing something right because you want to do content. Even if it's not the content or niche you want to do, you're close because you're still making a video. And it's basically the same thing, except the topic varies. So you have to learn about different, algorithm structures. It depends on the platform because it varies from platform to platform. And when you guys realize this, it's actually so much simpler because you realize that when you run, you're always moving. And that always leads time for your compass, Your compass won't go without wind, and you can't get wind if you're not moving, So you have to essentially keep going. It's like my character right now. I have no idea where I'm going, literally, and I'm still running. So you just have to take that risk, okay? The only risks you shouldn't be taking is something that will physically harm you. Like, unless you're going to an army or something, obviously don't get yourself in trouble. So you guys just need to understand that it's not something that is based on, I feel like it today, I'm going to do it. No. If you're serious about it today, tomorrow, the day after, maybe 10 years from now, you keep doing it. It's something that's ingrained within you. You can take breaks, that's fine. But then you have to get back to it, And that's why I think building a system is such a good idea. Because screw how we feel. A lot of the times we feel like garbage and we won't do anything with our feelings. It will tell us we can't do it. I'm scared. I'm not strong enough. I'm not good enough. Flip that. But when you realize you've tried it, and even if you do prove yourself to be true, you still tried it. That's daring. And sometimes, even better, you prove yourself wrong and you realize, wait, I can do it. So why did I say I can't without even testing the waters, The thing is, a lot of us expect to drown before we can even go onto the ocean. And we forget that we need to sail in order to move somewhere. If we stay in the same place, we'll be stranded on this stupid island of doubt and hatred, whatever it is. So yeah, please be sure to make something work for you and manage to do something worthwhile. And I'm going to mention the student example again, because if you have an exam or whatever, a student can feel like, I don't want to study. I'm tired. I don't want to do it. But which one speaks louder? Consequences speak louder than any advice, any kind of criticism, because it's actually happening to you. If you fail that exam, if you don't make it, you know what spoke louder? Your laziness and obviously your lack of participation. So that is exactly where things have to be understood at a deep level. It's personal, okay? Same with your goals. If you're so passionate about it, why are you making videos, I don't know, once a year? This is just hypothetical. I'm not speaking to anyone in particular, you know? And before anyone says my videos suck, this is the perfect moment to screw up. And this is another part of why motivation is BS. Screw up now, because when people are really well known, if they screw up, they cause drama, they cause controversy. So this is your perfect moment to make all those mistakes until you realize how to avoid the major ones, because everyone makes mistakes, whether you're big, whether you're small. I'm talking about magnitude of your audience, your retention, etc. So yeah, that's something which you need to understand. Now is the perfect time for you to screw about, not on purpose. It's your experimentation phase. And this is something you do not with motivation. This is something you do with instinct, with initiative. Because why would you want to rely on this feeling of, oh, I want to do it? It's never going to happen. And think about it. If you get this feeling of motivation once a month, for example, which is not even that much, you waste an entire month or 29, 30 days doing nothing, when you could have grinded in that time, you know? So it's so crucial to understand, oh God, not this again. How many times do I... Oh, it's this. Okay. For a sec, I thought it was like the type that you have to run after. But yeah, I just really think a lot of us need to understand this, you know? And people need to stop making excuses. If you want something in life, you need to go after it. It's not going to come after you. And even if some people were told, oh, I got privileges, they're lucky, blah, 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 it's a load of BS. You're just lucky in some sense, but not in every sense. You still have to do your hard work. You still have to do stuff. Except I want to say something so honest with you guys as well. Hard work alone is not it. You need to work smarter, not just harder. So if you make content, are you paying attention to the type of thumbnails you use? Are you paying attention to the audience retention? That's why I ask you guys in my description, my community posts sometimes, are my videos okay? Can you hear me fine? I know some people have commented on that. Hopefully I can work on that soon. And I ask if my videos are, I ask for a lot of feedback where I can. And when I'm confident, I'm doing stuff. It's still part of my experimentation phase. You guys can't tell me the answer. I can't just explicitly say, oh, what video is going to help me? I can't say that. I can ask for suggestions, but you guys need to know that it's my personal journey and I'm learning this for myself. Like, you guys have your own journey and you're discovering things for yourself. People can't tell you the answer. And this is where you have to let go of this whole motivation thing. You don't want to be waiting around your whole life for one mere temporary emotion to help you. It's absurd, honestly. And the thing is, it does feel great to have that motivation. But another tip I would say is, if you really do like the feeling of motivation, discipline and systems does help. Because when you realize how much you've achieved with them, that's when you realize, oh, whoa, I actually can feel genuinely motivated. You're not relying on motivation, you're gaining motivation from it, except you're not craving it, you're not dependent on it. You're instead doing something with your time. And I know some people watch this video taking notes and actually doing something, and some people just watch it like every other video out there. So if you're someone who's genuinely damn serious, take my words, okay? I've watched so many videos on YouTube about motivation, and not everything makes a promising impact to me, okay? I'm not gatekeeping anything, and the systems thing is such a big thing. It's a game changer, because essentially you're doing something no matter how you feel. So that's guaranteeing that you're getting better. And that's the next point I want to do. Get 1% better each time, honestly. This also helps you with motivation. You can get even more ideas on how to be encouraged, except you don't need to chase the encouragement. When you're naturally better at something, you want to do it. You know, like the more you do something, the better you are at it. And then the more you actually want to do it because you're good at that thing, you know, you start to feel that confidence. And this is just getting 1% better. And it's not physically or mathematically getting 1% better. People just say 1% because it's just an easier number to tell yourself, because we're just progressing slowly as humans. But it compounds, you know. And when you realize how to get 1% better, you realize, okay, I got to do different things. So if you're going to the gym, you got to think, okay, how many reps will I do this time? You know, maybe I should do 20 instead of 10. And if you're thinking about studying, maybe 2 chapters instead of 1. Sorry. The list goes on. And this is where you have to be serious, you know. If there is something you want so freaking bad, are you gonna let a mere emotion like motivation really stop you? Is that gonna be the end of your story if you don't receive it? Let's say you just don't feel that dopamine. Let's say you just don't feel that joy for 10 seconds. Whoops. Are you just going to let everything go? Seriously. And just because you feel it once a week or once a month or once a year, are you gonna waste those 6 other days, 364 days, 29 days, 30 days, whatever? Are you going to waste all of that time just so you can wait for an emotion? And then, you know what's bad? Is that emotion is going to go again. So you wait for it, 29 days later, you receive it. What are you going to do? Go on another 20-month hiatus or something? Are you seriously going to do that? Is your dream that fragile, or whatever you want to do, that fragile that you have to just, you know, watch it slide away or just wait for it every fortnight? It's stupid, okay? You got to do something which aligns with your values. If you're someone who wants to be successful, then you have to adopt habits like those who are successful. And I want to also mention something else which helps you guys feel encouraged to do more, especially with following systems. Watch YouTubers or people who actually are aligned with your goals. Don't watch losers on the internet talking about how much their life sucks, okay? I get those things on my feed and I'm just like, nope, I'm not listening to that. Once upon a time I didn't help me, we move on. Like, may God help you with your affairs, hope you feel better, but I'm sorry, this does not float my boat, it sinks it, okay? So I watch YouTubers who I'm inspired by, and I like to take advice from them. So even when I'm so-called doom scrolling, because everyone has those days, my feed is very smart. It's filled with people who are aspirational. So at least if I'm doing nothing with my time, I'm still absorbing useful information so that I can keep myself committed to my goals, you know. And I want to admit something, guys. I was going to take a break from making videos from today. I probably will. I was going to not make a video right now, you know, about this topic. But I got so much motivation from just watching random reels telling me that you got to go for your goals. And here's another thing. If there is something you really want, there is someone out there who is actively working as hard or harder than you to receive it. Now, you don't want to see this as toxic motivation. You don't want to be like, oh, I'm going to have war with this person. You have to see it as a form of competitiveness that is going to help you. There are people out there who want what you want, okay? And you have to accept that. And you're not essentially trying to take their place, but you have to understand that there are people out there who win. So why don't you win alongside them, you know? What I like to tell myself is there are people out there on a stage. They're performing so well. And I don't want to take the spotlight. I just want to be on the same stage as them. And that is how I like to think. So what is stopping you from achieving your goals? It doesn't have to be content. It doesn't have to be student related. Whatever it is, a relationship, whatever it is, guys, you should be showing up every single time. Honestly, it compounds every single time. Everything you do, it adds up. Genuinely. Even if you don't see it, it adds up. The results you get from the gym, first day, first week, maybe nothing. But then when you realize in a month's time, oh wow, I'm noticing something. That's from the compounded results of your consistent efforts. Even on days where you said no. Even on days where you said, I don't feel like it. Because your actions should always say, I don't feel like it, but I'm going to do it anyway. That's you being real with yourself. And one day you will even say, you know what? I feel like it. I want to do this. And you can only want something if you're used to it. Okay. When you first do things, you're going to feel uncomfortable. You're going to feel like what's going on. And that's why people often say that the hardest thing is starting. And that's so true. And going back to what I was saying about, going in without any sense of direction, testing the waters, that's just what you have to do. Sometimes you can't find a niche. Sometimes you can't find what's meant for you. But that's why you have to keep running. You have to keep walking until something finds you, until something appeals to you. You have to keep exploring this life. Like in this game, when you explore stuff, Nikki is a stylist, but she still explores different miracle outfits. You see what works for you. And the only way you actually learn is by exploring. She goes through different places. In life, we go through different phases. We meet different types of people. We go through lots and lots of experiences. So what are we learning from that? That's something we have to understand. And even if we're by ourselves, guys, and I'm saying this from experience, there's still so much you can learn. And I'm going to be so honest with you guys. Whatever you consume is literally like your make or break. Sometimes whatever you watch can merely decide if you're doing something worth your time or not. If you're watching people, just lazing about doing nothing, you're probably going to be inspired. But if you're watching people grinding, doing their best, that's going to hit you. That's going to make you think, I can be alongside those people. Because when people see others on their feed, they're always thinking, oh wow, this person's living a good life. But if you imagine yourself, I can do that as well if I put my heart and mind to it. That's when you change your beliefs. And that's when you start seeing things for how they really are, So even though I'm going absolutely nowhere with my character right now, I'm still moving, it's part of being alive. It's part of the grind. And no one told me which way to go. But does that mean I'm just going to be lost and sob? No. Well, maybe now. But the whole point is discovery. So do I have to be motivated to find my way back? Of course not. If I'm lost, I'm going to need to find my way back regardless. So create systems for yourself. Create something reliable so that you do what you need to get done. Because too many of us are reliant on, oh, I feel like doing this. Oh, I need to do this because I feel like it. Oh, I can't wait till I feel a bit more bothered. When are you going to feel bothered? Can you dictate that? Can you just actively say that? You can't just say, oh, I'll be bothered on Tuesday at 7 p.m. Doesn't work like that way. Does not work that way. So what you have to do is you got to be that Tuesday at 7 p.m. right now. Or whatever day you said you would do. And when you realize that, that's it. And another thing I like to do personally, I should do it more often, but it does help, is I give myself a 5-second countdown. And when I say 1, I get up immediately. So if I'm in bed, I'm like 5, 4, 3, 2. And then when I say 1, I immediately jump up. Well, not jump, but you guys get what I mean. And I feel pumped because I'm out of that freaking bed. And the bed can be such an enemy sometimes. It keeps you in such a state of relaxation and laziness. No wonder you don't want to do anything. So I like to stay on my desk, where I game, where I like to do stuff. Sometimes I am in bed and sometimes I do watch those reels. But it all depends on what you engage with, the kind of people you hang out with. That's why it's important. It's better to be alone than be with someone who wants to just give up all the time. And be grounded with yourself. Give yourself a round of applause when you do something. Give yourself rewards. Remember the reward system. If anyone has not watched my video on discipline, I have also mentioned the reward system. If you've done something, treat yourself. Just say, oh, I've done this, or I will do this, and then I'm going to treat myself to a chocolate, or I'm going to treat myself to a mango, or I'm going to treat myself to, I don't know, time with friends, You should treat yourself regardless, but when you put some kind of discipline into your life, those treats will feel more deserving. You'll feel like you've actually accomplished something. So try to use the reward system as well. And it doesn't have to be food related. It doesn't have to be entertainment related. Whatever you guys consider as rewarding, just do that. And you'll feel more motivated. And then you won't feel like you're just, spoiling yourself for the sake of it. It's completely fine to spoil yourself. I'm not going to say anything against that. But understand that if you do it in moderation, you'll understand the true value of attaining the things that you want and, doing things. Because it's so important to just do stuff. And I also saw this a checklist of you telling yourself to do stuff and a checklist of you actively doing it. So check off anything that you tell yourself that you've done, if you've done it. So let's say you have a piece of paper. On one side, you're going to write, okay, things I want to do. And on the right side, you're going to write things I've done. And then what you're going to do is obviously check off as many of those as you can. So I'm not really that much of a checklist person, so I do this more mentally, but I like to tell myself, okay, I've done this, I said I'll do this, and I did it. You also create self-trust with yourself when you do that, because you actually accomplish those things. Whereas if you're someone who's like, oh, I really want to do this, oh, I didn't do anything, you're going to start saying things like this: I'm a failure, I can't do this, this is tiring, I never do anything. You know what I mean? These boring affirmations of laziness and like negative, complete cloud of negativity. You don't want that. It's pathetic. So yeah, you guys are valuable. I've always said this. Try to remember as best as you can. Just don't rely on motivation. It's something I wish I knew when I was younger, but you gotta learn somehow, you know. And take breaks as well, okay? There is a difference between kind of forcing yourself and burning yourself out, okay? Don't burn yourself out. Take breaks. Do whatever. So like today, I said I'm going to take a break because I've been uploading 2 videos a day for over 7 days now. That's crazy. That's more than twice the work than some people do. Some people upload weekly or bi-weekly. I've been uploading daily twice. And that's already crazy. So I'm going to go insane if I don't take a break. But yeah, I thought that this would be a good video for anyone who needs it. So yeah, whatever you want to do, just remember it all starts with initiative. And when you take that action, that first step, that's when something will be made easier for you. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. And the style for the character is slightly different. It's, I don't know. I just went for something a bit different. I guess I should have made the gloves blue as well, but anyway, I'll see you guys in another video. Make sure that you stay focused on your goals, okay? You're not gonna just be like, okay, I'm gonna care for my loved ones because I feel like it. You joking me? Your goals should be important to you, especially if you're doing your goals for your loved ones. Just remember that. So yeah, peace, and I'll see you guys in another video. So make sure you take what I said seriously. Bye.